Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are in Australia today. My name's Clare Gibellini. I have the immense privilege of serving as the board chair of the National Disability Research Partnership. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm joining you for the lands of the Whadjuk Noongar people in Boorloo or Perth. For people with visual impairment, I am I'm a white woman wearing a grey jumper, dark rimmed glasses, giant Christmas earrings, and I have very short grey hair. So I do want to begin today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land that we are meeting on today. As we gather to discuss some important issues for people with disability, we acknowledge the strength and the resilience and the cultural wisdom of First Nations people with disability. We know that we're on First Nations land and we respect the First Nations people from this land. On this land that we live, work, play, swim and dream together. We remember that First Nations people have lived here for many, many years and we share this land with them. We honour and respect all First Nations people and elders. Their stories have so much to teach us, and I want to show my respects to all First Nations people joining us today and recognize the important contributions that they continue to make to our communities and also to our work together in the disability sector. So maybe you can hear it in my voice, but I'm a little nervous because I'm really excited to welcome you to our very first Evidence to Action event hosted by our organisation. This event actually represents a significant milestone for the NDRP as it reflects one of our key strategic objectives, which is mobilising the evidence that we have into action. The NDRP exists to support collaborative, inclusive, and most importantly, disability-led research that generates evidence for policy and for practice. Our work is grounded in the principles of inclusion, respect, and partnership, and it's developed by and with people with disability, their representative organisations, and our allies. After becoming an independent organisation in March of this year, the NDRP has been entrusted with $13.6 million in Australian government funding to lead this important work. Our goal is to ensure that research by and with people with disability informs real-world solutions that upholds the rights, the dignity, and the well-being of people with disability. So today, a bit excited, we're really proud to launch the NDRP strategic plan, which builds on the strong foundation set during the first 4 years. And I also just would like to do a big shout out to all of the members of the Working Party who got us to this point today. With support from the Australian Government, we began the journey in 2020, guided by the vision and the input of the disability community. Together, we developed key principles, created the NDRP research agenda, and set up a strong governance framework. And now, as an independent, not-for-profit organisation, we're super excited to be launching our first strategic plan, which will drive our work over the next 5 years. Our focus is going to be on funding disability-led research, strengthening the research capacity, and turning evidence into meaningful action. And our team's going to pop a link to the strategic plan in our chat, or you can head to www.ndrp.org.au. I just want to also take a moment to acknowledge and thank the contributions of Inclusion Australia and People with Disability Australia in shaping this event. We want to thank the National Disabled Persons and Representative Organisations who identified the topic of restrictive practices as a crucial priority for our first Evidence to Action event. Collectively, these organisations have provided valuable insight, leadership and advocacy and are guided by the principles of inclusion and collaboration. And we're incredibly grateful for their input to both the NDRP and to working in partnership now and in the future with us. So today's event is not a small one. It's exploring the evidence to enable the elimination of restrictive practices in Australia, which is a critical conversation. Restrictive practices have a profound impact on the lives of people with disability. And we know from the Disability Royal Commission that eliminating these practices requires much more than just policy shifts. It demands of us a deep understanding of the evidence, of collaboration across sectors, and the voices of people with lived experience guiding the way forward. So over the next 3 hours, we're going to hear from a diverse range of speakers and stakeholders about the current state of research, about the evidence gaps and the steps that we need to mobilise this evidence into action. Before we start, I want to acknowledge something really important about today's event. This gathering is part of a national conversation about what's needed to enable the elimination of restrictive practices. We know that this is a complex, multifaceted issue, and it's what some people call a wicked problem. And we know we're not going to solve it today, nor are we going to be able to address every aspect of it in one single event. We want to just recognize that this can be frustrating, and we know that not everyone may leave today feeling like we've made the progress that they hoped for. But this discomfort is actually part of the process. It reflects the enormity and actually the urgency of the task that we have ahead of us. So by acknowledging those realities now, we're hoping to create a space for open and honest and constructive dialogue, because that's where change begins. So let's approach today's conversation with empathy and with a shared commitment to learning and to progression, even if the solutions take time. And I want to express my thanks to all of you who've joined us today for being open to this conversation and to taking part in the discussion. Before I go too much further, though, it's my pleasure to announce the Honourable Amanda Rishworth, the Minister for Social Services. Minister Rishworth has been a champion for inclusion and equity and human rights, and her role is critical in shaping policies that advance the dignity and well-being of people with disability. Unfortunately, she couldn't join us live today, but we are honoured to share a pre-recorded message from Minister Rishworth, where she's going to officially open our event and provide her insights on the importance of evidence-based action to eliminate restrictive practices. So we'll go to the video from the Minister now.